Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some more Star Wars Battlefront 2 news. First of all, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Riva Thames, who provided me with some more footage from Gamescom that I thought I would roll in the background while I'm talking about the actual news. First of all, he's got some footage of all the new droid skins coming to the game, so you will see that rolling past in the background, as well as some Naboo co-op footage from the droid side, which is the attacking side, as previously I've only showed the defending. And he also said that the Naboo co-op was a lot more fun than the one on Kamino. So it seems like it's a better representation of how that mode might work out. So I'll let that roll in the background while I talk about some of the news I've got to discuss. So first of all, some new Rise of Skywalker footage came out today through a D23 special look trailer, which started off with some old clips and then went over to show off some really interesting new stuff. And Ben also tweeted out saying, "This looks incredible. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is going to be a great place for Star Wars fans later this year." So in case you missed it, we are indeed getting Rise of Skywalker content at the end of the year, including a new planet. So obviously this new footage shows some different things that could be in the game or could not be in the game. It's a bit tricky to say from this footage what exactly might show up in the game, but we see huge fleets of Star Destroyers, resistant fleets, new planets, C-3PO with red eyes, dark side Rey, and of course Palpatine's voice narrating the end of the trailer. Some of this might just be visions, some of it might be irrelevant to the game. It's tricky to say, but I just thought there was a lot of very interesting and cool scenes that they show there. For instance, I think that the dark side Rey part might be something that's similar to when Luke goes into the cave on Dagobah to see himself as Darth Vader. I don't think she's gonna turn, and if she does, I don't know why they would reveal it in the trailer, but they've been pretty good at being very vague with the trailer so far for the recent Star Wars movies, so I honestly don't really know what that means. And then Palpatine talking in the background again. It seems like he's gonna have a pretty prominent role, at least I'm hoping for that. But I'm also curious, how? Is he just gonna like haunt the remains of the Death Star, or is he gonna have a clone, or... It's tricky to say, really. I don't think that's something that's going to play part in the game either, simply because I don't know how that could be adapted to the game. But nevertheless, one of these planets we see in the background, I'm sure it's going to be the one we see in Battlefront 2 once that expansion comes out. I'm also going to go back to an article here in a bit called Restoring Trust in Battlefront 2 with some very interesting comments from Dennis. But in regards to Rise of Skywalker in particular, he does say that the team is putting significant amounts of effort into it, and he suggests that it could be one of Battlefront 2's biggest expansions so far. So that definitely speaks a lot for the future of this game and that patch in particular, because I really feel like they won't just drop the game after an expansion like that. And I'll get more detail, and I'll talk more about that in a bit once I've gone over some of the other comments he has made about the game and the future of the game. So if we move on from Rise of Skywalker, one thing that Dennis also commented on was the trooper weapon system, because that's probably the most requested thing that has yet to be addressed, which is more blasters. And in response to that, he said, yes, the trooper weapon system is very stupid. It needs an overhaul before we start adding more stuff to it, making it even worse. And then clarifying on Reddit that he is mostly referring here to the development standpoint, because it's apparently not made very well in terms of adding more blasters. And if they need to add more blasters, that's going to make the system even worse. So the fact that he even brings up the point of potentially overhauling the entire weapon system and trooper system, I think that's promising for the future. It's not something they've talked a lot about before, so I don't think it's probably not even this year, to be honest. We do need new blasters, but I do also agree with something he said before, that it's better if we get a blaster on something like a new commando than getting a blaster on just one class. So I mean, we are getting new blasters, just not for the troopers, which means that the trooper gameplay is never changing, and I think that is a problem. The trooper gameplay has stayed pretty much the same now since the launch of the game, but they're adding other stuff like heroes, reinforcements, vehicles that do add more variety. But I would love to get some more variety into the actual trooper gameplay, but seems like we might need an overhaul on the weapon system before that. But if we then move on to the big article, Restoring Trust in Battlefront 2, a very good article with Dennis. I will link it in the description below if you want to read it yourself. There's a lot of good talk about both what happened after launch and how they've built up the trust of the community and everything. But there's a couple of quotes here that I wanted to bring up that mostly relates to basically how they're treating their games now in terms of making new games, because DICE have always been like, okay, let's make a game, support it for a year, and then we work on a new game, like from Battlefront 1 to 2. But that's not the case anymore, and this is what Dennis says. DICE has been on the sequel treadmill for quite a while, and I think the industry is changing rapidly. We felt that, and we know that we want to build communities rather than customers. That's been a change in our approach. we want to stick with our games a lot longer, and we want our communities to feel like they're well taken care of. It makes no sense to constantly try to stop them playing the game they like and make them play the new game they also should like, just because we don't want to work on the old game anymore. It's not good for the community, and in this age, if it's not good for the community, it's probably not going to be good for business either. That's why we're sticking with it. And then in response to Battlefront 3, he said, I'm not necessarily sure that whatever the fan expectations of Battlefront 3 are need to happen with a 3 at the end. I think you can get all the Battlefront fantasies that you want from our games. And then Ben also said out on Reddit, we've not talked about 3, we're focused on this one. So all of these comments together really makes it sound like they're not working on a Battlefront 3 at all. It's all about Battlefront 2 right now, and considering how well it seems to do in regards to player count, as well as just the positive press coverage of the game right now, I think it's probably better for them to just stick with this game, and obviously it's doing really well, and we're getting more content the second year of post-launch support than we are the first year, which is really interesting, and it really shows that this game could go on to live on for a long time, and they wouldn't be overhauling a bunch of systems if they didn't think this game had a future. So it's really been up and down a lot this year, whether or not I think they're gonna make more content or not, but now they've obviously confirmed the rest of the year, and by the sounds of these comments, I would not be surprised if we continue into 2020 with even more Battlefront 2 content. The one thing that is obviously something he brings up, business, they need to make some type of money from the game, or at least so that they break even with the developers, and I'm not really sure how much they're making from the skins right now. They are still adding some droid skins now, but it's not like they're pumping out skins the way all other games that are supported through skins are, which also makes me think that it maybe isn't the skins they're making the most out of, but maybe still like box sales, because I'm sure they're selling a lot of copies of the game. So the question then is, what can they do to make some more money off the game? Are they without locking some content behind a paywall, such as maps or things that can make it really troublesome with matchmaking? And they've already promised the content to be free, so that wouldn't work very well either. So it's tricky to see what they're going to do the rest of this year. I got a feeling that if they're continuing into 2020, there might be some change to how they monetize this game. Hopefully not something aggressive. Well, I know that they can't go too aggressive with the monetization, because then we're just back to square one where this game started. But at least something that will, well, most importantly, make me or any other player that's played it since launch feel a reason to spend money on the game. I mean, I've played it for 2 years now, soon, and I still haven't had a reason to spend a dime on the game, and I think I've had my money's worth from the launch of the game, and I would gladly pay some extra money for something in the game, but there just isn't anything for me to actually spend money on right now. So I think that's the kind of gap they need to fix. Don't make it so that new players need to spend a shit ton of money to get all the skins, but make it so that the older players have a reason to spend some money on the game. That's what I think. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about all these comments from Dennis and Rise of Skywalker footage and all that kind of stuff. What are your expectations for the future of this game? But that brings this video to an end. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.
Jedi Master has been surprisingly swift. Hey, Steve. Sith owners must be short.
sympathize with some of the Padawans.
Real trouble. New enemy on sight.